once again to anybody who tuned in for the 1 p.m. live stream. I was able to go on for like 2 minutes, and then technical difficulties precluded me from continuing, which was a pain in the butt. So I had to cut that stream short. I think it's saved right now as private on my channel. But luckily, I can still do a 1 a.m. stream. So let's give it a few minutes. Let's wait to see who joins these 1 a.m. streams. I don't have any specific topics. Rather, it's just me chatting about kind of anything about Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry? Positive, negative, or neutral. I was thinking of talking about tomorrow, or today technically, the November 6th 1 p.m. stream, talking a little bit about the federal budget, or more specifically, a couple parts of the federal budget related to funding for local programs. There's actually a couple that could be very applicable to Masonic groups, organizations, lodges, buildings, whatever it might be, pick your term. Legacy funding through the arts program, as well as additional funding for Canada Day events. Why not celebrate Canada Day, in a Masonic lodge, in a Masonic building? Invite the community in, maybe do tours of your building to celebrate Canada Day. There's a million things that you can do. So just keep those in mind. But once again, thank you everybody for joining. I hope you all take a few moments. As always, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for being here, and I hope everybody's going to have an excellent night. Let's give it a couple. Let's see who joins. Actually, this weekend, one thing I'm really excited about is I'm going to a writer's workshop on Saturday, November 8th. As I've discussed previously, when it comes to, my content creation and Freemasonry, I love to produce live streams and videos. I also love producing written work through Medium. And I want to develop my writing skills so I can continue to develop those, to write about Freemasonry and how I love it. So I hope you guys will check me out on Medium, medium.com, square and compass. We got some hundreds. Welcome, whomever is here. Please take a moment, hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Let me know how it's going and any thoughts you guys have on Freemasonry. Positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear it. And thank you again for joining. And again, my apologies to anybody who came in for the 1 p.m. stream on November 5th. I had technical difficulties and was not able to continue it. I was on stream for a couple minutes, if that. Sax Zod is giving me the emoji. Same to you, sir. Thank you for being here. I hope, Sax Zod, you are doing well, and I hope that you will let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. Again, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. And please hit that like button as well. Consider a super chat. I don't have any specific topics. Rather, it's just us hanging out. I have no idea what that is, Tim Shannon. North Coast. I like Goldberg and like Dominic Mysterio. I eat corn the long way. Official LRT1. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope you'll hit that like and subscribe button. Same thing with you, North Coast HVAC, and you, Tim Shannon, as well. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, consider a super chat, and let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear them. And we're just going to wait for the chat. Like I said, these streams is just me responding to the chat. Tomorrow, or today's 1 p.m. stream, I actually think I'm going to discuss and talk about the Canadian federal budget, and more particularly funding that may be of benefit to Masonic lodges and Masonic buildings. North Coast HVAC, I'm looking to join in my town. Any pointers? Good question, North Coast. And Dennis, thank you. I mean, I don't honestly have a ton of pointers other than it's up to you to take the first step. Basically, get in touch with them. Shoot them off a letter or an email. You can show up to the lodge building unannounced and hope somebody's there who can speak with you. But I find doing it by, email or setting up an advanced meeting is better. Beyond that, don't rush the process and take your time. Let them get to know you. You get to know them. And don't start with the desire of joining. Start with the desire of learning more information about the lodge and the members therein. I think that's the most important thing. Welcome back, official. Literal trash. Well. North Coast HVAC, what's the benefits? Honestly, I've been struggling with that question. I've been a Freemason for 20 years. I joined in 2007. The old me would have said the benefits are you get introduced to a new group of people, brothers, in fact. You meet friends you would not have met otherwise. Potentially, you have better networking opportunities, but that's going to always be the case if you increase your social circle. You will develop certain skills. You'll develop memorization skills. You'll develop ability to administer and run meetings. You'll develop a sense of accomplishment. You'll be part of a historical group that connects you to the community. But in 2025, Cameron, what I would honestly say is don't think about the benefits to you. The ultimate benefit to Freemasonry is by joining, you are put in a position to try to make the world a better place through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. And beyond that, any other benefits you receive are going to be personal and subjective to you. I got a big nose, I know that, but please hit like and subscribe anyways. I'm 42. Literal trash, don't ever think in those terms about how quickly you can get the 33rd degree. Don't ever think in terms of how fast you can get any degree. That'd be another pointer. Don't rush the process. You don't ever want to be going from one degree to the next until you feel like you understand the degree you're already in. If you're trying to rush through or race through the degrees, you're going to miss valuable information about Freemasonry and valuable information on your journey. So, Sackzod, Jason, welcome back. Please hit like and subscribe to everybody here. No worries. I mean, that corn thing, I'm a fan of professional wrestling. I should train in professional wrestling. So there was a sign once that said Goldberg eats corn the long way. So I took it as a compliment. North Coast, have I managed to answer your questions well so far? If I haven't, let me know and I can try again. I have no idea what the generative principle is, Wayman. I don't tell people what the G stands for. That's one of the secrets and private elements of Freemasonry I choose to keep private. If you want to know, you got to join. So take that for whatever it is worth. Again, I'm not going to say, but Gnosticism, right? That comes from the Greek word for knowledge. Gnosticism predates Freemasonry. I don't remember by how long. Bro, you looks weirdly. I know I look weird, but that shouldn't stop you, UFC, from hitting the like and subscribe button. No matter how I may look. And it shouldn't stop anybody from doing a super chat. Even 99 cents helps big time and would be truly appreciated. Okay, North Coast. I'm glad you've been doing research on Freemasonry. I think that's awesome. I would just warn anybody, if you're not already a Freemason and you've joined a legitimate lodge, you need to be really careful about the research that you do, because there's no guarantee the research you're seeing is based on legitimate sources. It could be based on a clandestine lodge. So you need to be very, very careful. Let's give it a bit of time. Let's, again, see who joins. Please, if you are joined, and especially if you're new, hit the like and subscribe button. And again, any questions or thoughts on Freemasonry? I'm not going to say whether the G stands for geometric or not. What I will say is geometry is very important to Freemasonry. It is considered the basis of what it means to be a Freemason. Um, because it's considered the basis of stonemasonry, right? Stonemasons, people who built things out of stone, literally, temples, walls, whatever it is, needed pyramids, needed to be well versed in geometry to make sure the buildings that they were creating and operating upon were not did not fall over and had the appropriate geometrical proportions. Well, that sounds not the healthiest thing, Frank Foley, but I'm still glad you're here. Banana Tiger, I'm yapping about Freemasonry, so please hit like and subscribe. And let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. Any questions, any thoughts? And I will not wink once, nor will I wink twice. I will not wink here, nor there, nor anywhere. And Frank, it is wonderful to have you join, but I hope that maybe you don't drink 8 pints of beer. That seems like it's not good for your liver. I'm not a doctor, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but I do these streams every Monday through Friday at 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. The 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the 1 p.m. streams, I have specific discussion points. 1 a.m. streams, I just hang out, wait to see who jumps in the chat and who wants to say hello. I don't know if anybody's seen that new movie, House of Dynamite. It's really good. I've watched it like 2 times. Well, North Coast, the best way to know is to join a Masonic Lodge. You can find out there. Don't rely on YouTube for your Masonic knowledge, even though I'm grateful for everybody being here. What you need to do is potentially join. Yes, a House of Dynamite. Click, McClick. Click on that like and subscribe button. Click, McClick. It's a very, very good movie. I really enjoyed it. It reminds me a lot of 13 Days, starring Kevin Costner. Only 13 Days was based on a real event. This is, I think, based on a fictional event, although who knows? It might be more real than we think, which is scary to think. It's on Netflix, to my knowledge, exclusively on Netflix. Jason Shank. I don't know what ChatGPT is. Sorry, I know what ChatGPT is. I don't know what ChatGPT helped the North Coast. I don't know what that is or what that means. I have Masonry friends. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad that you enjoy talking about Freemasonry. I'm glad you enjoy researching it. And I'm glad you've got some Masonic friends. I'm sure they are excellent friends. And yeah, thank you as always. Thank you to everybody who has joined. I've been watching. Oh, I see what you meant, Jason. It took me a second to figure it out. Okay. I mean, it is possible that ChatGPT can provide information about Freemasonry. However, it's not always correct. Wayman Jr., I mean, in terms of sacrifices you have to make to be a Freemason, I mean, it's sacrifices of time, it's sacrifices of energy. I have to go to the Masonic Lodge meetings, and there's some sacrifice of money, not a lot. It's pretty cheap, honestly, usually between $100 to $200 per year. Beyond that, there are no other sacrifices. Again, it's just of your time and your energy and certain financial requirements. Even then, though, honestly, the time sacrifice is very minor. In many jurisdictions, you don't have to attend any lodge meetings, and you can still be a member. Yeah, a House of Dynamite. It's really good. Hey, I get my dad. Oh, that's very funny. What's my favorite part about being a part of the lodge? The privileged position that I am in to try to help make the world a better place and help my fellow brothers. And when I say privilege, I don't mean privilege in kind of the modern sense where, privilege has become kind of synonymous with this idea of power influence, because Freemasonry does not have power or influence. but rather it's the sense of if I have a neighbor, I'm in a privileged position with respect to my neighbor in that I see them more often. So if they're struggling or having a hard time, I'm in a privileged position to see that struggle and to potentially offer them help and assistance. I can bring them food or refreshments, whatever it is. Freemasonry, I'm in a privileged position by being a member of the lodge in that I'm in a privileged position. I know more people who I can help if they need it. I see them more regularly, so I can see if they need assistance. And I'm in a privileged position as it relates to the world because by being part of a civic group, I'm more active part of the community. And by being a more active part of the community, I can potentially do my best to help community at large by, for example, encouraging Masonic Lodge to purchase refreshments or use catering from a company that's local or new or just starting out or struggling. I can invite artists to the lodge, to show off their work, anything like that. So that is for me. Other people have very different favorite things, right? Every Mason has his own relationship with and to Freemasonry, including what they like about it the most. I'm convinced this guy is me. I like to think I'm not a shit poster. I've never been to Bohemian Grove. I've heard of Bohemian Grove. Excuse me for just 1 second. I'm not going too far, I promise. I don't know a lot about Bohemian Grove. To my knowledge, Bohemian Grove is some Alex Jones thing where they worship Moloch or something. Never been to it. And I have no interest in going to it. It has nothing to do with Freemasonry, despite what some online people may say. Well, I mean, again, North Coast, it depends on the lodge, right? Like there are some lodges where they will provide, so they'll have their own building, and if they have, shelf space, they'll offer it to artists to produce or to display their work, that type of thing, right? Whereas other lodges won't. And the drinks, some lodges, their membership goes out for drinks after lodge, some don't. It's more about the position you're in to try to help people. And I think any opportunity you have to try to help people, you should try to take advantage of. What up? I'm not extremely lonely. I got a cat, and I got you, Justin Smith. I'd be less lonely if you hit the subscribe button. Yo, Z, and I got Z. What is going on? How is it going with you? I hope that you are doing well down there in Alabama. Like I said, I'd be less lonely if you hit the like and subscribe. I'm doing well, Z. How are you doing? I tell you, it's always feast or famine with you, Z. You're either in that Alabama heat melting or you're in the Alabama cold. I would take cold over heat, though. So take us through the initiation process. Well, the initiation ceremony, I won't take you through. For that, you got to join. The process, though, it's going to be slightly different wherever you are because jurisdictions have slightly different processes. But as a general rule, you approach a lodge, you express an interest in joining, you get to know them, they get to know you. At a certain point, you can fill out an application to join. You need 2 sponsors usually. That's 2 members of the lodge to sponsor you. So part of the reason that you take your time to get to know the brethren is so when they're sponsoring you, basically saying he's a good guy and he'd make a good Mason, they're doing so because they know you. You have to believe in a supreme being. The nature of that supreme being is up to you. You can be of any religious faith or belief, or even like me, not religious faith, but spiritual. After you put in your application, they do another investigation with you. Sometimes it involves your family. They just talk to you again, and it's a new set of Masons who, again, both will ask you questions about why you want to join, what you hope to get from Freemasonry, what makes you interested in it. But also, it's your chance, and if you have a family, it's your family's chance to kind of interrogate the Masons and ask them any questions you may have about Freemasonry. Then there's a vote in the lodge. If that vote is successful or favorable, they will contact you with a date and time for your initiation. Oh, it depends on the jurisdiction, Click. I don't have really good data on that. In Texas, I know it's 67. It's unfortunate how the Masonic age on average is trending older. I would estimate in North America probably early 60s. Um, oh, Wayman Jr. The Morals and Dogma, especially. So you need to be really, really careful with those two books, especially Morals and Dogma. And if I recall correctly, Manly P. Hall wrote his book before he was a Freemason. Morals and Dogma was written by Albert Pike. He was a Mason out of Alabama. He was writing it at a time when Freemasonry already existed for, at least 100 and something years. And it was really more his philosophical take on Freemasonry. You shouldn't take it as being representative of Freemasonry, rather representative of one brother's opinion on Freemasonry. A brother who was writing particularly more in reference to the southern jurisdiction Scottish Rite. If you want a good book, Wayman Jr., to start your Masonic journey on, I would say actually the best book is Freemasonry for Dummies by Chris Hodap. I'm not calling you a dummy, that's just the name of the book. Freemasonry for Dummies by Chris Hodap. And it's a great explanation into what Freemasonry is. Well, I wouldn't know because I've never done any drugs outside of my prescription medications as prescribed. And I definitely take, too much caffeine, but nothing else. Sorry, Mossy, you are incorrect. So yeah, I'm not opposed to Albert Pike. I think he has a lot of valuable insights, but I also think he makes a lot of things incorrect. And also some of the language he uses is very imprecise and doesn't mean what people think it means. Eastern Star is a Masonic body for men and women. So that is not what Freemasonry is for, because I am not lonely, nor am I concerned about accepting or not accepting homosexuality. I joined Freemasonry being very happy with who I am and not being lonely and having friends. And I'm still happy with who I am and not lonely. So I don't know, Justin. I think you have been fed some false information. And Mossy, you definitely have been seeing some false information about Freemasonry and what it is. Again, Mossy, I'd recommend to you as well. Freemasonry for Dummies by Chris Hodap is a great place to start. Would you say you're curious? I'm curious about many things, primarily nature and the world and the universe and science. That is what I'm curious about. And I'm curious about how I can make the world a better place. And I think Freemasonry is one of the ways that I've discovered to make the world a better place. I truly believe, for whatever it's worth, that as Freemasonry grows, the world is made better, and as Freemasonry declines, the world is made worse. What are my tattoos? I got a bunch of tattoos. I can't show them all because a bunch of them are up here, and I have a long sleeve T-shirt, but it's hard to see. This is Don Quixote, one of my favorite books, and a ton of Masonic symbolism within it. This says Traveler. This says the next one, which is a John Cena quote. This is from Halloween 5, because I love scary movies. According to the movie From Hell, which is one of my favorite movies, I don't believe Jack the Ripper was a Freemason myself, but that is one popular conspiracy theory. Right now, nobody actually knows who Jack the Ripper was. Though apparently there's been some documentaries that claim to have found the answer, and he was not a Freemason. But I um, I personally don't think he was. I don't know what that means, Justin. Dennis H. Holmes, was that the Jack the Ripper? Um, ever heard of Black? I have not, Z. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, so that's what they think he was now, right? Funny, Justin, I actually have been to prison. I worked in a jail. I worked in a jail for about 5 years. So Donald Trump is not a Freemason. At least I've never seen any evidence that he is. Um, in terms of the number, I used to know this. Let me see if I can remember now. I think um, um, 11. Oops, 15. All right, I just checked. I was close. 15 presidents have been Freemasons, at least undisputed Freemasons. The numbers are, so I'll go through the list. George Washington, James Monroe, Andrew Jackson, James Polk, James Buchanan, Andrew Johnson, James A. Garfield, William McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt, William Taft. He was made a Mason on site. It's interesting. He's the exclusive Mason here of presidents who was made a Mason on site. Theodore Roosevelt is a really interesting Masonic president. He was made a third degree Master Mason, or raised to a third degree Master Mason, while he was a sitting vice president, and his raising was so well attended that he couldn't get into the building. They had to carry him over people's heads to make it into the lodge room to get his third degree. Warren Harding, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, Lyndon B. Johnson, one of my favorite presidents. Interestingly, he was exclusively an entered apprentice. He never advanced beyond the entered apprentice degree. Gerald Ford was the last undisputed Mason to be a president. Then there's some debate as to whether Joe Biden is or is not a president. Is or is not a Mason. Conspiracy theories are going to go nuts. Is or is not a Freemason. If he is a Freemason, he was made one on site by the Prince Hall Masons of North Carolina on the last day of his term of office, January 19th, 2025. But some people dispute whether he is a Mason or not. Ronald Reagan was made an honorary Scottish Rite member, and Bill Clinton belonged to DeMolay, which is a youth group for Freemasons. So 15 for sure, and 3 others questionable. This association, I'll check it out, Z. That sounds cool. Well, Skull and Crossbones is Yale fraternity. I don't know much about it, but it's not connected to Freemasonry, except for the fact that they're both fraternities of both social clubs. I am the degree that matters, which is third degree Master Mason North Coast. I'm also an 18th degree Scottish Rite, but in terms of the highest rank in Freemasonry, it really is third degree Master Mason. The Civil Rights Act, the passing of the Civil Rights Act, landmark piece of legislation, and I think that his passing of it was a really excellent moment within the history of the United States of America. Well, why? I mean, Justin, why troll in that case, right? I don't understand the benefit of it. Luther, yes. Uh, They may have been. Again, I don't know enough about it to say, other than, again, Skull and Bones is not connected to Freemasonry. I can demonstrate them. I'm not going to. For that, Wayman, you got to join a Masonic lodge. The thing about Freemasonry, right, is our signs and our symbols, such as any modes of recognition we would call them, which may or may not include hand signs, they're no different than like a family recipe, right? The reason that we have Masonic ritual and we maintain its privacy is to maintain and grow bonds of brotherhood through shared experiences. I know certain things that are private that exclusively other Masons know. That bonds me to them and connects me to them. If I share those things on stream, then it cheapens the bonds between us. It's no different than if you have a family recipe and you're not going to put it online, because by maintaining the privacy of the family recipe, you maintain the bonds of brotherhood or bonds of familial, generational kind of relationships. Thank you, North Coast. I appreciate it. Well, you don't. I mean, you don't pay. You don't. You can't pay to become a Freemason. If anybody asks you to, then they are, they are scamming you. If you're accepted into Freemasonry, then there are yearly dues and fees you have to pay. But I can't just go up to a lodge and say, here's, $5 million, make me a Mason. That's not how it works. Um, I have to first demonstrate that I should be a Mason, go through the application process, and then if I'm successful, at that point, as part of joining, they will ask me for whatever fees are necessary. But if anybody ever gets in touch with you online, for example, and says, send me $300 and you'll be a Mason immediately, that's a scam. That's not how it works. Yes, like a monthly fee, but usually it's yearly. Usually it's really. Usually it's yearly. I did get a blindfold. I did get a haircut, Yuri, because I want to be aerodynamic when I'm wheeling down the street. Well, thank you, Justin. I try not to be a wussy. Having said that, again, I would always be avoid being a troll as a general rule. I don't think there's enough trolls that exist already, both online and on real life. All right, Justin. Well, I hope you hit the like and subscribe button nonetheless, and thank you for being here. And if you want to do a super chat of 99 cents, now is your time. I would love to have long hair. I'm just too lazy to take care of it, so I get it cut short. There is no severe consequence. The severe consequence should exist within your own soul and your own conscience, and you should recognize that as you broke your word, you should feel bad about that, and you should be your own worst kind of judge. Beyond that, in theory, you can get removed from Freemasonry, you can be suspended, but that just means you can't attend the meetings anymore. It does not. Freemasonry will not have Freemasonry will not have a position on any kind of political topics, abortion, the death penalty, taxes, whatever it is, right? We, in fact, in Freemasonry are not allowed to discuss politics or religion in lodge. Freemasons will have opinions on abortion, but if every Freemason will have his or her, for that matter, own opinion, and they are all to be respected. If I was Roman the Great, would it make a difference? You're called Roman the Great, so my assumption is, as a Roman, you want to destroy my temple or something if I were Jewish, but would it make a difference? Well, it depends on the purpose of the meeting. So we have our administrative meetings, which usually are monthly, and it's how you administer any social group, paying bills, what we're going to have for dinner, correspondence, if we need to, if we have any special events coming up, any paperwork we need to file, anything like that. So basically, No different than any other group. It has to maintain itself. To do that, it has to do administrative work, secretarial work, treasurer's work. If it meets in a building it owns, it needs to replace the light bulbs, whatever it is. Then there are the ritual or ceremonial meetings where usually it means we're bringing in a new candidate to become a Mason, and there's a set of rituals or ceremonies that we use when we are creating or bringing in a new Mason. Um, and then there could also be events and meetings that are open to the public, special events, open houses, banquets, ceremonies, things like that. We should sell Steve Gutenberg merchandise. We'd make a fortune. I have no doubt. Well, we got a BOAZ in the chat. Welcome. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and thank you for being here. And as always, hit like, hit subscribe. Let me know how you're doing, and let me know if you have any other questions. I do these streams for about 1 hour. Like I said, I have specific topics I cover as well, but these 1 a.m. streams is just general discussions. My lodge building does. I'm lucky. Not every lodge building does. Some rent out space just above like a corner store. Most lodges should have refreshment areas where they can meet for dinner or refreshments, because it's kind of understood that after every meeting or before, at some point on a meeting night, you have dinner or refreshments of some sort provided by the junior warden. But in some cases, if there's a kitchen, they may prepare it there. Oftentimes, if there's no kitchen, they'll just order stuff in from Domino's or wherever it might be. The junior warden, the most thankless job in Freemasonry. I would say even more of a thankless job than a secretary. A lot of people will say the secretary is the most thankless job, and it's a tough, tough job. However, I don't think it's the most. I don't think it's the most thankless. The most thankless is definitely junior warden, because you're preparing food for people. Somebody's gluten allergic, someone's a vegetarian, someone has dietary restrictions of who knows what type. It's very much a challenging job. We do not, Yuri, because we learned the lesson from Homer the Great and the Simpsons episode. We're smart enough to know that will lead to nothing but trouble. We can click. It just depends on the lodge and if the lodge wants to organize like a group outing. But I've been to baseball games with Masonic lodges. I've been to we've done parades, barbecues, basketball games. So we do stuff. It just depends on the lodge and the lodges. I don't know. I think I once heard a Rockefeller was a Freemason, but I can't confirm that. I don't think the Rothschilds were Freemasons. Yes, Al Babek. Hold on just 1 second. I'll be back. I'm not going far, I promise. I just want to get something to show you. Okay, so in terms of, I don't know how many, but I know, for example, Buzz Aldrin, the second man ever to set foot on the moon, was a Freemason. He actually claimed the moon for the Texas Masons. And I got this coin. That's him there. Buzz Aldrin on the moon. Thought that was really, really cool. I mean, I should get congratulations, Connor, because I'm so incredible and handsome and awesome. Whether I am am or am not gay should not make any difference on whether or not I receive congratulations. Congratulate me for being handsome. I think that's the key. Well, there you go. Connor, thank you for being here. Let me know if you have any questions on Freemasonry. Click, there really is no mission to Freemasonry. And even core tenets, most would say the core tenets of Freemasonry are brotherly love, relief, and truth. I think that for me, being a Freemason, the core mission or tenets is the mission to try to build a better world through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. But every Mason ultimately has to decide for himself what he believes his mission is within Freemasonry and what he believes the mission of Freemasonry is. Some would say to make good men better. Again, I think it's an incredibly personal thing. That's the thing I love about it, is that no two Masons will precisely agree on what Freemasonry is. They'll agree on the ritual and the proper way to perform it, and they'll agree on like a meeting date. But in terms of what the mission is, some view it as kind of an esoteric self-help group. Some view it as a community group. And the beautiful thing about Freemasonry is there's room for all different views of it. Well, B-O-A-Z, well, Boaz, you got to join to know. So join Freemasonry and then you can find out. I hope every Freemason believes, or not even believes, because believe is the wrong term. I hope every Freemason knows the earth is round. However, it would not shock me if there was some flat earth Freemasons. Because, you know, there's flat earth plumbers, there's like, at the end of the day, Freemasons are just people. And so every crazy idea that exists in the world exists within Freemasonry. So I'm sure there's some flat earth Freemasons. However, let me say to you, I am firmly in the earth is round category, or spherical. Which is the wildest group? I don't know. Wildest group ever? Not the Freemasons. We're pretty boring. Oh my gosh, what would be a good... Probably some fraternity out there somewhere causing trouble. I believe you it's an honest question, but I'm not going to tell you, in fact, because again, as I always say, there are some things I choose to keep a secret. I'm not even going to confirm nor deny what you're saying is Masonic. I'm just going to say you got to join a Masonic lodge. To my knowledge, mainland China does not have Masonic lodges, though there is Chinese Freemasonry that exists in places like BC. There's also Masonic lodges in Macau and in Hong Kong. In Macau, they evolved from Masonic lodges in Portugal, and in Hong Kong, they evolved from Masonic lodges in England, where you had trading ships traveling and economic ships traveling from Portugal and from Portugal to Macau, or from England to Hong Kong, and then any Masons who were on those ships set up Masonic lodges in the ports as they were engaging in economic activities. So Freemasonry does have a York Rite, where it does have chapters or degrees kind of based on, to my understanding, the history of the Knights Templar. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I mean, I shouldn't say either way, it just is the way it is. Some of those are exclusive to the Christian faith. However, Freemasonry itself is open to everyone. The way I try to, I got a big nose, Eldon, but that shouldn't stop you from to like and subscribe. The way I always think about it, Yuri, is when I went to law school, I attended law school for the full 3 years. Everybody there was a law student. Everybody there was equal. But there was a special group for, female law students. There was a special group for law students with disabilities, Black law students, right? And I couldn't join those. But it didn't mean I was less involved or less of a law student than anybody else. It's just certain groups within Freemasonry are kind of designed for certain, in that one case, is for certain religious beliefs. I mean, in the same way, the shrine, much of its symbolism and iconography is based on Islam and Muslim brothers. So I guess that's how I'd explain it. But Freemasonry itself is not Christian exclusive. No, Freemasons, there are Masons who are, again, Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Christian, both Catholic and Protestant, Muslim, Jewish, indigenous, spiritual. One of my um, favorite things about Freemasonry is the fact that it welcomes men of all different faiths and beliefs. It depends, Yuri. It's hard for me to say because I know Muslims who are members of the York Rite. So I guess what I'd say is it might be the same as what's the word I'm thinking of, right? It might be in the same way that again, you have to believe in a supreme being to be a Freemason, but supreme being is defined so broadly. But I think if you defined it literally, then to join York Rite, you can join the first two chapters of York Rite, if I recall correctly, but the third level therein, I think you wouldn't be able to join. But there are Freemason female lodges, Shays. There are many. There are many in Ontario. There are many in England. They are a great part of the Masonic tradition and the Masonic family, as well as you have Order of for Rainbow, and you have Eastern Star. So Freemasonry is not sexist, nor does it discriminate, and that makes me very proud to be a Freemason. So I've not read that book or that Bible, Wayman. What I will say is I've never met a satanic Freemason or a Freemason who worships Satanism. I did have once a satanic church member or member of a satanic church call me and express interest in being a Freemason. So I taught him about Freemasonry, what it is, how it works, what it means to believe in a supreme being. And he decided he did not want to join because he felt that Freemasonry and Satanism were incompatible. So I guess you take that for whatever it's worth. I think in theory, you could be a Satanist and a Freemason, but I've never met one, and I've never actually, I've never met one, and based on my understanding of it, they would not be interested in joining based on the values of and philosophies of Freemasonry. Tommy, 21 Guns, welcome. I don't know if you're new or not, Tommy. I think I've seen your name before, but if you are new, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Yeah, I know very little about it. To my knowledge, there are no connections between Freemasonry and Satanism. I mean, it's always possible that, a group of Freemasons left Freemasonry and started a different group or started something, but I've never heard of any connections between the two. And it would shock me if there were, because again, based on everything I understand about Satanism, and again, not judging anybody, whatever faith or belief you have, but based on what I understand about people who belong to the Church of Satan versus Freemasonry, they're not compatible. Because to be a Freemason is believe in a supreme being, to my understanding, within the Church of Satan, the individual is their own supreme being, which would not be compatible with that idea. Well, JK, in honor of the booger, please hit like and subscribe. It could be the case, Click. Again, I don't know enough about it to say. I do sit in the East. Actually, Tommy 21, I sat in the East today. I'm Worshipful Master of Border Cities Lodge number 554. I heard the rumor Sir Isaac Newton drank mercury. I have no idea if it's true or not. The likelihood is that Sir Isaac Newton was not a Freemason. Though there is some speculation that he was, based primarily on the company he kept, because he kept company with many men who were Freemasons themselves. What can I say? I look like a cartoon character, But GSE Likele. That shouldn't stop you from hitting the like button and the subscribe button. Oh my gosh. Brad Paisley, the country music star, George Washington, like a historical current, Winston Churchill, a bunch of them. I am from Canada, Windsor, Ontario. Born and raised in Winnipeg, though. But I've said it a million times, Canada is the greatest country in the world, in part because we have the greatest neighbors in the world. Shaquille O'Neal, yes, absolutely. Again, maybe Joe Biden, if you consider him a Mason. It's questionable whether he was or not, but I tend to give him the benefit of the doubt. Yes, it is a beautiful country. You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. I'm going to be ending this stream very shortly. Like I said, I do these streams for just about an hour in the mornings, 1 a.m. I will be back on though at 1 p.m., so about 11 hours from now. Our country's great, Wade, or my country's great. I love Canada. And I tend not to worry too much about the political situation in the moment. It changes, goes up, goes down. It's okay. Well, I mean, so Mark Twain was a Freemason. Samuel Clemens, his real name, right? He was a Freemason. We know that for as much of a fact as we can know anything. I never read The Conspiracies of Tom Sawyer, though. I have no issue with people from Russia. There's actually a lot of Masons in Russia, so I love my Masonic brothers around the world, including in Russia. They don't lose their degrees. You can't lose their degrees. If they were to return to Freemasonry after leaving, they would come back with the same degree that they had before they left. Well, that sounds crazy. I can just call you Deco. That sounds like a crazy thing to say. I don't think we want to be expelling anybody from anywhere. What I would like you to do is hit the like and subscribe button, is what I would prefer. Well, if you want rights, I feel like I got rights. I'm quite happy with my rights. I have the right to speak. I have the right to be here on stream. I have the right to ask everybody here for a super chat. Please do a super chat. Wade, I do tend to run, even personally, pretty cynical about people. However, let's not be cynical about the government. How much does it cost per month? It depends, Click. It depends on the lodge and its operating expenses. It's usually not done per month, it's done per year. So I'm a member of 5 Masonic lodges. The cheapest one costs me $40 per year. The most expensive one costs me $250 per year at the present time. So if you're a member of one Masonic lodge, you can probably expect to pay between $100 to $500 per year, dependent on the operating expenses of the lodge. We do. I mean, it's a beautiful country for those reasons. It's an absolutely beautiful country in terms of its lakes and nature. So Martin Luther King was not a Freemason. His father and father-in-law were Freemasons, but Martin Luther King was not. I don't know about Thurgood Marshall. No, no. I mean, honestly, they should be more expensive than they are in most cases. 60 a year is what Z says. So again, it depends on the jurisdiction. I mean, I can't speak for what the Russian government's plans are. All I can say is to the people living in Russia, they're people like anywhere else. They're my brothers like anywhere else, and I wish them nothing but the best. No, sorry, Martin Luther King is not a Freemason. Let me just double check. But like I said, his father, and father-in-law were Freemasons, but unless I'm mistaken, oh, sorry, his father and his grandfather were Freemasons. Not his father-in-law. His father and his grandfather were both Freemasons. Shaq is a Freemason. You're not wrong. It's done way too cheaply. Sorry, GSE. Martin Luther King, unless you're talking about Martin Luther King Sr., but if you're talking about Martin Luther King Jr., he was not a Freemason. His father and grandfather were. I guess there was a plan for him to become a Freemason, but it never took place. I am traveling. I travel all the time. Welcome, Joe. I'm a Freemason as well. Honestly, I don't really own any old books. My lodge owns old record books going back to its start in 1883, but that's different. So Joe, thank you for being here. By the way, Joe, please take a moment, hit the like and subscribe button. I'm going to be ending this stream shortly, but I want to give you a chance to hit like, subscribe, do a super chat maybe. I'm already in the East. I've been in the East many times, aged. I have no idea what age of Crickedelia is. Please hit like and subscribe, though. Nice, Dennis. That is awesome. That is really, really cool. And that's a very old book indeed, 100 and something years old. I mean, one thing in Freemasonry is we have a ton of old books. We don't do near enough to preserve them, but that's a whole other story. Oh, well, you should never use Freemasonry to get you out of tickets, but I do support brothers looking out in cases of like traffic tickets and stuff. That's fine. Well, I mean, he would support Freemasonry, Prince Hall Freemasonry in particular, but again, he was not a Freemason himself. Now, again, I could be wrong, but all the evidence I've seen, like at the Atlanta History Center, is that he was not a Freemason. Probably, but none I can think of. Other than me, I'm a Freemason and I've done some stand-up comedy, but other than me, I can't think of any. We're going to give this another, well, probably end this stream in a minute or so. It's not too late if you're not done so to hit like and subscribe. It's not too late to do a super chat, and it's not too late to make a note. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, I will be back on with another stream. I am 18th degree Scottish Rite, Joe. I don't know if you're Canadian or American, but here in Canada, for our Scottish Rite, we don't do them all in one weekend. We do Lodge of Perfection first, then Rose Croix, then Consistory. So I stopped at 18th degree. I'm not York Rite. I am Scottish Rite. It is my plan at some point to join York Rite, but not anytime soon, that's for sure. I'm too busy with this stuff. Nothing's wrong with the Vampire Hunter novel. I support that click. It's fine. Good on you. The most important thing is that you enjoy what you're reading, right? Whether it's brand new or 500 years old, you should enjoy what you're reading. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it very much. About Freemasonry, I mean, obviously mine, because I'm going to be, shill for myself, but Roundtable is good. I'd say the best one right now is Knights of the Masonic Roundtable, probably. Working Tools podcast is pretty good as well. That might be worth checking out. And then my podcast. And thank you, Joe, for liking my platform. That's very kind of you. Oof, as I'm dealing with heartburn at the moment. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for joining. Again, anybody who jumped on at 1 p.m., I apologize for the technical difficulties. You should see me again 1 You should see me again very soon. All right, tune in today, November 6th, 1 p.m. And thank you so much. And that is good. No shooting at civilians. See you guys.